kiss for you.
Today, we're looking at the topic of AI music is now beginning and starting to make money, and a lot of people do not seem to care. I bring this up because historically, as we have seen through artists like Velvet Sundown, I believe this is the correct page, but these are AI-generated music tracks, and it got a lot of attention because it was an AI-generated band, you know, vocals, lyrics, instruments, all that stuff, and it was producing music that was getting seemingly a lot of airplay, right? And overall, while it was a concern that this was, being shoved down our throats through algorithms, overall the impact to it was quite low because the streams were quite low, and any other chart success they may have had was ultimately gained by botting it, right? So it was not necessarily real or organic success, and so for the most part, it was basically just a publicity stunt in the sense that it did not have any real functional impact into AI music or music in general, right? The difference now, as I'll show you by the thumbnails here, each of these artists have songs with a lot of streams or a lot of views, disproportionately so, and also most of it does seem to be organic, where people are just finding it normally and commenting and liking it and not realizing it's AI. So a good example, I'm going to try and go in order of how I experienced this, which is also roughly how I showcase it here. As I mentioned, again, Velvet Sundown was kind of like a good first example of, hey, AI-generated artists are coming on to the scene and they're pumping out music. There's an artist called Copperplate, which I did not realize was AI originally. I only found out about them because my Discover Weekly here had one of their songs. It was Subtle Senses, and it was like the first thing that popped up. The first song on the Discover Weekly was that. I listened to it, didn't really notice a problem with it. It was kind of good, so I added it to my one of my playlists here, and then after a couple more listens I realized, this is AI, and I did some research, which was just looking at this album page and looking at, they put 3 albums out in 2024 and 2025 with no info, and they all sound the same, and they're all like, the same setup, so I'm like, okay, right? And then they did later on confirm that they are an AI project. So the reason I mention this and the reason I popped this one up is because they have a lot of plays, right? 5 million for Come Closer, 3 million for Subtle Senses, 1.5 million for Ideology, and these other ones have a decent amount of plays too, right? These are not small numbers compared to like the Velvet one, right? The other thing is these are organic numbers. If you look up Copperplate music, which I'll do here, first thing you see obviously is that it's AI, and that was 9 months ago, right? 9 months ago puts us 2025, right? And this is confirmation. So, 9 months ago, let's do 5 it puts us in like July 2025 timeframe. Well, you can see that gives us what? That's still 3 albums, including the 2 most popular ones from here, where people did not know that this artist was AI generated and did not know that they were listening to AI music and bought these albums and liked them and presumably bought records of them, right? That is a long time, at least a year, where people thought, this is an artist and they're pumping out music and it sounds pretty good, to realizing, actually they're just completely AI, right? And none of it's real. And again, that goes back to the point of real people are listening to this. This is not botted. This is not artificially inflated for the most part. These are real people listening to this music, liking it, adding it to their stuff, and then not realizing it's AI. And what I wanted to kind of focus on is now they're making money. Before, like the Velvet Sundown, it's like, they're not going to be making money. No one's really listening to this thing. You can clearly see now that they are listening, and it is organic, and now they're making money off of it, right? Because at least a couple people have confirmed to be bought these as vinyls, if not, the streams here contributing to that factor. So that's the first thing, is that at this point, artists are coming out with AI-generated music and starting to make money in Spotify recommendations as well as album sales without people realizing it's AI. That's the first thing. Second thing, this is on YouTube here. Yeah, this is paused. This is what would be typically called a YouTube checkpoint or a pit stop. These are one of the last bastions, broadly speaking, on the internet to find new things. Oftentimes it can be music or it can be like an old video, and the reason it was YouTube is because YouTube's algorithm had a way of surfacing new content to you that places like Instagram and Facebook just would not do, right? And so when you'd find one of these, you click on it, you'd be like, interesting, cool, time to listen to some new music. It would often be music from artists that are, abroad or different languages, and that you wouldn't necessarily understand, but you would be, quite interested in. It would also often be music that would be hard to categorize in terms of like date and time frame, because they would be old. They would be like 80s, 90s, 70s era music from, a different generation, maybe in a genre you haven't heard of, or maybe just an artist that has like passed away or no longer does music. There'd be a bunch of variables where basically it would pop up. You're like, oh, cool, a techno aquatic fantasy album from 1985 by a Japanese composer, right? And you listen to it. So just setting the stage here. And this is one of them that I found that popped up on my feed, and clearly has popped up on a couple of other people's feeds, because it has 900,000 views in 2 weeks, right? And it had, oftentimes these will have like weird descriptors and nothing added to it. But this has 165,000 likes. And the reason I point this out is because this is a 2-hour long, mostly like lo-fi and chill music that is AI generated. And why is this relevant? Well, once again, large amount of views, a lot of likes, and you'll notice something. The official YouTube Latin page 8 days ago, as in recently, has commented on this video and said that, not given its seal of approval, but done this, right? Top comment, what music do you listen to? Nothing. This feels like one of those hidden Easter eggs you accidentally find in a game. One of those internet checkpoints, algorithm poll, unskippable thumbnail, how did we meet here, members only club, digital campfire, bigger fish to fry, drop the bass, save point, internet moments, algorithm poll, 2 a.m. hungover, save room point, right? None of these comments up to this point are talking about being AI generated. Until you actually go into it, realize it is AI generated due to its instrumentation, the way the music is set up, where the stems are coming from, and you can recreate this exact video in Suno, right? And if you check on the person's channel, they have done exactly that for the past 13 videos, right? With very provocative thumbnails, and that is how you get, 1 million views, 500,000 views. These other ones that haven't been as successful, but they've still definitely garnered attention, and that is, definitely important. And again, they're getting official recognition from, YouTube channel, YouTube accounts, right? So now we're at a point where these are affecting not just Spotify recommendations and monetization, but also broad scale global recognition. This is a lot of views, right? This is a lot of engagement, 165,000 likes and 11,000 comments. This is a lot of engagement. This is a lot of money being generated from this 2-hour long video because of what traction it's gotten, right? And not a lot of people are commenting. Now, this is a situation where, it's an unknown channel. It's very likely that because there is no info on it and there's no copyright on it, that this could be fine, because maybe it's like copyright free, or maybe it's just something we're not super aware of. But right now, it looks like this is AI, at least partially made. And not only is there no disclosure, but, there's a lot of engagement from people thinking that this is real. The bigger one I wanted to talk about, and this is also relating to recommendations. The bigger one I wanted to talk about is Loon Room. Not a channel with a lot of subscribers, which is not too unusual for a music channel, but definitely quite weird in the sense that they are AI as well. You can check because their releases have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 albums in the last year, all with about 14 songs, 13 to 14 songs on them, all with the same style thumbnail. Artwork that you could absolutely create in like any image generator, all with roughly the same song length and song function, right? Chill, lo-fi. The point here is that this is a verified music channel with a verified logo and artistic style, and has a 3 million view video compilation. Most of these are also, again, exactly an hour and 1 minute long, right? So to do this would be extremely a lot of work, and definitely something that you would want to get credit for, but it is presumably, at least at this time, unless they come out and specifically showcase the fact that it isn't, this is AI generated music. It's Suno created, at least in part, from instruments and stems that Suno has created, and that is all it is, right? These are just instrumental pieces. But this is 3 million views, right? And if you look at it, once again, 156,000 comments, 3 million views. They have the setup like a real Spotify, Apple Music, digital Bandcamp. You can buy it, right? You can check out the store. There's chapters. There's shorts remixing the video. Available on everything. No concern here when it's there, right? None of these comments are standing out as a problem. For the most part, it looks like any mention of this being an AI-generated image or AI-generated artwork has been completely abandoned. So if I'm going through here, you're not going to see it. I am on my other account here. This is not I'm on my gaming channel account. This is not the one I checked with, and as you can see, the comment's gone. When I originally did this, the AI-generated comment was one of the top comments here, and there's a couple others that were in that sentiment as well, right? But at least when I'm checking on my second account here, that is nowhere to be found. So there could be some self-censoring as well going on. This has substantially less comments, which is not super unusual for compilations like this, but it also could mean that this is maybe more of a bot situation where you have, lower amounts of likes. Again, this is about the same or less likes than the fish video had, and the fish video had a third as many views, right? So this is possibly still legit, right? It is possible to still get only 1,400 comments on kind of a compilation like this where you're not necessarily, commenting that much. But it is still suspicious that we have 3 million views, only 1,400 comments. And when I checked, there was absolutely 3 or 4 comments talking about the AI-ness of the video and, a lot of explanation on it and how it was AI and the things that came from it. And yet now, as you can see, none of these comments are talking about it. So it's just an overall feeling that no matter what is happening, no matter where you're going, you're getting served this content. And it is not disclosed. People are making money from it, and it's at a substantially higher, I'm not going to say quality, but substantially higher disguise factor than would typically be normal. Substantially higher disguise factor from what would typically be normal and seen on this, typically be seen for like AI music, right? Again, I need to remind you, we are used to seeing, keep saying Velvet Underground, the Velvet Sundown style, and now we have artists making, millions of streams and money, presumably, off of this stuff. We have a total verified artist that is pumping out content and getting a good amount of views on most of their stuff with a specific art style that's replicatable, that you could theoretically do like a live performance or live studio performance with this stuff. We were getting to the point where the concern and the kind of barrier for AI music was that, they'll never be able to perform it live, they'll never be able to make much money off of it. We're seeing that happen. We're seeing specific examples and even endorsements, as I showed in the fish thing from YouTube itself, of this coming into focus, right? Of these artists being able to make money and potentially perform this AI music. I don't think that is what we should be going for and striving for, and I wanted to point that out because I did not see a lot of people talking about it, right? I see the typical examples, I see the examples that I gave before, but no one's really talking about this new crop of AI music that is actively making money and actively, I think, harming the potential of what's happening here, right? And where it can eventually go. So hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully I tried to explain it well. If you want to see more of these kind of deep dives on the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, do all that, and I'll see everyone in the next video.